This is a certified CTE doctor, and he said that Tua suffered permanent brain damage. Dr. Bennett has stated and made it clear he believes it's too dangerous for Tua to keep playing. Sometimes money is not more valuable than human life. $20 billion is not worth more than your brain. I don't think I have to explain what happened to our beloved Mr. Tua Tagovailoa. If you didn't see what happened a few days ago, or didn't at least hear about it, you gotta be living under a rock. I'm not saying that I expected everybody to be watching the game live like I was myself, and that's arguably one of the craziest things I've ever seen on national television on a primetime game, but I do expect everybody to know what's going on. Tua suffered yet another serious concussion for the second straight week in a row, and I believe that was his second concussion in 4 or 5 days. Okay, before I go any farther, let me clarify on that. The first concussion, people labeled it as a quote-unquote back injury, but everybody with normal common sense, we all knew that was a concussion. Although it wasn't as bad as the recent one that happened, it was still a slight one. And even after that first one, although it didn't seem too bad and he was wobbling, many people and many doctors were saying he shouldn't have played the next week. But somehow, someway, the Dolphins medical staff, the doctors, whoever cleared him to play, they gave him the green light. I'm not going to talk about that too much because it is what it is. You can form your own opinion. Here's the only thing I'm going to say about it. I'm sure a bunch of you watching this video right now, you at least played one sport in your life, whether that was at the college level or high school level. I'm also going to assume many of you watching this are like myself. You're a competitive person. You want to win. My real athletes out there, you can relate to this. We've all played through an injury probably we shouldn't have. To go on top of that, for my people that don't play sports and you go to work every single day, we've probably went to work some days when we was too sick and shouldn't went to work, but we need to make money, right? My point is, we've all done stuff we shouldn't have, but we couldn't get out of our own way. We couldn't stop ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the exact, and I mean the exact same thing with Tua. I already know how this went down. I've been in the same position myself talking to my trainers. They were probably telling him, hey Tua, you should more than likely take this week off and you can come back the next week. And he was sitting there going, no, I'm fine. I'm going to play. There's nothing to worry about. I know how this goes, and it happens at every level, not just the NFL. But, and I have a big but, the NFL, the Miami Dolphins medical staff, they got to step up and say, hey Tua, I know you're going to hate me for this, but you're not playing this week or the week after. And Tua's going to be mad at him. He's a competitor, but the Dolphins can't take that risk. They can't put him out there, and they did. It's still hard for me to talk about this. It's a emotional moment for me because I've spoken to Tua. I've kept up with him since high school, ever since he was at Alabama, and even before that. What I saw, it was sad. He pretty much blacked out on the field. Me, myself, I've never even seen anything close to that in my life on a football field. Now, here we are, a few days later. What has it been? About 5 to 6 days since that injury? And here's what the Dolphins announced 2 days ago. The head coach, Mike McDaniel, announced that Tua Tagovailoa will be out this week against the New York Jets. He is still in concussion protocol. When I first saw that, I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself. I was like, well, duh, he's going to be out for this week. The dude just had a major concussion and blacked out on the field. Yeah, I would expect him to take a week off. Oh, man, I just thought about this. I don't even want to know how the entire Twitter world, Instagram, social media world would react if it was announced that Tua was going to play. Don't even get me started on that. That's a different conversation for a different day. If they allowed that to happen, I'd have to fly out there and stop Tua myself. With that being said, here's the new and major update that only came out less than 24 hours ago. CTE doctors and experts are telling Tua that he needs to retire. They strongly believe he suffered a severe concussion and he could risk further injury if he continues to play. This is a certified CTE doctor, and he said that Tua suffered permanent brain damage. There's a lot of bad injuries out there, like an ACL tear or an Achilles tear, but permanent brain damage, that's not even on the same level. It's in a different world. You're not even talking about a football injury at that point. You're talking about a life injury. Dr. Bennett has stated and made it clear he believes it's too dangerous for Tua to keep playing. Here's what he had to say, quote unquote. If you love your life, if you love your family, if you love your kids, if you have kids, it's time to walk away. Go find something else to do. Tua, my brother, I love you. I love you as much as I love my son. Stop playing. Stop. Hang your helmet and gallantly walk away. Sometimes money is not more valuable than human life. $20 billion is not worth more than your brain. Whew, wow. Let me know in the comment section. What do y'all think about that? So now we have a certified doctor, a certified CTE doctor stating he needs to retire and never play again, and he's already got permanent brain damage. And it's hard for me, you, or anybody watching this to say, oh, that doctor's being delusional, because he knows what he's talking about. You see what I'm saying? This isn't Matt Be Great tweeting this out on Twitter that I think Tua has permanent brain damage. No, this guy knows what he's talking about, and I can't stress that enough. This is how ruthless Twitter is. Somebody replied to it and said, he's saying that for clout. Oh my goodness, man. You can't make this stuff up. I hope you're joking and trolling. Why would this doctor make that up? Take a look at this tweet. It got over 600 likes, so a lot of people agree with him. Tua is not the first person to get a concussion, isn't the first person who's going to come back from one either. I also want to address this. Notice how the doctor said, Tua, hang it up, go find something else to do. I get where the doctor's coming from and all these other people saying that Tua needs to retire and blah, 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 blah. But I also don't think they're thinking this all the way through. You have to understand, all Tua has known ever since he was 6, 7, 8 years old is how to throw a football. He's a football player. That's his livelihood. No, I'm not saying Tua is dumb. I'm not saying he couldn't be successful in other areas of his life, but this is what he loves. Whether you disagree with this or not, I've spoken to Tua. I know how he acts. He's not giving up football no matter what this doctor says. He's a competitor. The stuff he's been through at Alabama, the injuries he's played through, he was playing through injuries at Alabama when he shouldn't, and he suffered worse ones because of that. But a lot of people don't know that. They've just started keeping up with him ever since he's with the Dolphins. If you had to look up the definition of a great, humble guy and also a great competitor, there'd be a picture of Tua sitting right beside it. This is what he's done. This isn't new to him. It's not like ever since he's got to Miami, he started having all these bad injuries. It started happening at Alabama first. I love Tua to death. I would do anything for him. I hate to say this, but it's the cold hard truth. He's injury prone. We saw it with Derrick Rose in the NBA. Think about how good he could have been if he didn't have all those terrible injuries. I wish injuries were never a real thing, but the bottom line is life isn't fair. You're going to have some players who are going to play in the NBA for 20 years and never suffer injury. You're also going to have players in the NBA who play for 10 years and suffer 40 injuries. That's how it works. It's sad, but it's true. Anyways, getting back on topic, let me read you off this tweet also a lot of other people agree with. With all due respect, I'm risking my health for generational wealth. Did he mean to rhyme there? I don't know. My kids' will be set for life. Life is a gamble, and I'm not about to turn away from this opportunity. I like that last part where he said life's a gamble. He's right. If you want to achieve greatness, if you want to be successful, you gotta take a risk here and there. But you also got people replying like this, and I also love this tweet. Yeah, and when you're walking up every flight of stairs sideways, Tua has a degree in communication studies and he can use that. Under that, my guy, I'm not disagreeing with you on Tua should consider his own health, but you gotta stop capping. Communication degree is worthless. It's just used by athletes in order to graduate, which is also true. You can chop this up, toss it up however you want. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Football is a dangerous sport, and I think Tua knows that by now. Heck, not just Tua, let me go back on a statement. I think everybody watching this video, we all understand football is a dangerous sport. Bro, I'm not laughing at this or anything. It's more so of, if you know, you know. Look at this tweet. Somebody said, Tua, please retire early, referring to all the other teams. And it's got a picture of Tua saying, this player has McCurry. You can't make this up. If you know what that's about, you know. I can't explain it. Let's wrap up the video with this. I don't think it matters what the doctors tell him, the medical staff tells him. If he wants to retire or play, that's up to him. This is going to come down to a personal decision, and I believe that Tua will more than likely sit out for 3, 4, maybe 5 more games and he'll return. I'm also going to say this. Do I agree with that doctor saying that Tua needs to retire? No, I don't agree with that. I know I may get some heat for that, but that's my humble opinion, and I don't think even Tua would agree with that statement. However, we gotta be careful when we talk about these concussions, because just like we saw last week, I can say, oh, Tua doesn't need to retire early, he's gonna be fine, and he can go out there next year, have a even worse concussion, and never be the same. I'll leave it at this, and I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. It's a risk, but is it really just a risk for Tua? Isn't it a risk for everybody to play football despite Tua having these prior concussions? I realize 100% Tua is now at a bigger risk, but I think it's a risk for everybody at the end of the day. I am curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But,